are quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. This is that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. I'm here, like every week, with Mr.
Brock.
He's Brock Smith.
Brock Smith.
And I'm Dan. And we're going to bring welcome in.
Yeah.
I know
What can we get started for you?
Yeah. Take your time. Order when you're ready.
Order when you're ready. Beep, 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 beep. Order up.
We're going to bring you a little classic from the 80s. I think if anybody's ever been to my house, they know that I'm a fan of the writer of this movie and the director of this movie, Brock. Who's that?
Stephen King.
That's right.
Stephen Bartholomew King. I don't know what his middle name is. Bartholomew sounded cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Stephen
Sure, he
King.
wishes it was Roland.
Yeah. Stephen King wrote another story about, vehicles coming to life and killing people.
Yeah.
This one has a lot of things that you can infer, which we'll talk about at the very end. So I guess how we usually do our podcast is we go over who was in it, where it was made, some production notes, who made it, who helped, cool stories, and then we go into the movie.
That's right.
So let's just start with first impressions.
Well,
of this
I
movie.
think before we do that, we should tell them the title of this movie. We're leaving them in suspense.
Well, yeah, shit. Yeah, so let's start. What are we covering?
We're going to do a little film called Maximum Overdrive.
Fucking, this movie kicks all ass. It's like one of my favorites ever. And listen. Wait, I'll cut that out too.
Hi, my name is Stephen King. I've written several motion pictures, but I want to tell you about a movie called Maximum Overdrive.
You think you made that
first
up?
one I've directed. Wow.
What in the dickens is going on around here?
A lot of people have directed Stephen King novels and stories, and I finally decided if you want something done right, you ought to do it yourself.
Who was driving it? I don't know.
It's coming after us!
It was my first picture as a director, and you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
What is going on?
I don't know!
I just wanted someone to do Stephen King right.
You want a war? You got one.
I just want to get the hell out of here.
So come and spend some time with me and my friends at the Dixie Boy. Spend some time in the dark.
Please don't let us be in the dark.
Help me.
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you. And that's a promise.
You're going to get us in an awful lot of trouble, man.
We already in trouble.
Maximum terror.
Jesus coming and he is.
Maximum King.
Maybe tomorrow will be our world again.
Dino De Laurentiis presents Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive.
cool voiceover.
Dude, what is not to like about just that part of it, except for the Stephen King trying to scare you shit? Do you think he accomplished it? Well, I don't think so. Not with this one.
Maybe somebody in 1986.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might have got somebody.
It probably did in 86. That's still the land of the Huxtables. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We hadn't quite made it to In Living Color yet.
That's right.
So that's when the world changed. the atmosphere changed. So what is Maximum Overdrive? What is Maximum Overdrive about?
Well, Maximum Overdrive is a movie from 1986. It's based on a story by Stephen King called Trucks. There's a few changes actually in the story.
A lot from
a lot of addition. I mean, like even setting up the premise. Like there's a piece of the premise that wasn't in the book.
Right. This is it, and we'll get in. Yeah, go for it. Go.
So
Got a lot to
at
say.
this time, Carrie had been out, Cujo, The Shining, and I know that he had problems with The Shining, and I get it. Whatever. You're the creator, but The Shining's a great movie.
Right.
No doubt. And I would be happy if somebody, even if it wasn't my original vision, that's up to him at that point.
It's an
you know
interpretation.
What I mean?
Yeah, and then you have the greatest director of all time.
Right.
And you're like, nah, I didn't really like it. You're like, whoa.
So he says, well, I want to make a movie. And actually he didn't. And to be honest, like in the actual story, like he says that in this promo, right? Mm-hmm. But they wanted him to write the script and he said no. And then whoever was set up to do it failed, and they came back to him and asked him if he'd just do it and direct it.
Which
Dino
De Laurentiis,
yeah,
the DEG,
yes,
instrumental in so many 1980s movies that you're ingrained. This one, by happenstance, also was filmed in North Carolina, where the studio was.
Yes.
So that lends to the atmosphere. That lends to the whole way everything was going, and just I don't know the actual like let's just get it done type shit.
Right?
Which shows in this movie.
100%.
100% just shows in the movie that this was a competent movie put on the screen with nothing extra special in it.
Right.
There's really nothing special.
Well, that's because Stephen King got denied by production to have AC/DC not by production, by AC/DC to be in the movie. They were like, nah, you can use our music.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But then there's some like
I'm just saying
obvious
that's
jamming.
why. Yeah, that's why.
Well,
had he had that, then he would have had his pizzazz.
Yeah, I guess the story really kind of goes. He walked up to AC/DC, him meeting them.
Yes.
And was like, hey, I love your stuff. They're like, whatever, you're just some cornball writer. And then he sang a song to them, and they were like, holy shit, you do know. Cool. Mm-hmm. So, and then he contacted them later,
Gotcha.
So, which is really cool because that doesn't happen too often anymore.
Right.
And this one it seems like it was a lot of demos that they were just like, all right, and then we'll project the movie on the screen and just play a little bit, like
right.
their frightening music and stuff like that. Because this one literally is a music movie too.
Yeah, for sure.
They use AC/DC's logo in the fucking
back of the van.
No, in the back of the van and in the credits.
Yeah, for sure.
They have the
100%.
action. It's like if Kiss did it.
And that's what I will say about this movie. That is what this movie is. And if you're expecting more out of this movie, you ain't gonna get it.
No.
But it's enjoyable watch.
Every time.
Yeah, I've never watched this movie and been like, God, this sucks. Now don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into some things down the road where you can't use logic that's half the charm.
Because it's a monster movie to me. It really is. It's a monster movie.
Like,
and
why are their cars going there?
What are they doing? Why aren't they killing us? Let's not fight back. And so we got rockets and shit, and we could get out of here really fast, but let's not end this movie. But it's paced right, too. There's only a couple of scenes that I think that it was just like, I didn't understand the choice in having so much detail in that part when there was so much other stuff going on.
Right. Well, have you ever read Stephen King?
Is that basically what it is? More description?
I love him as a writer.
Yeah. Well,
but he will tell you about the dew. He'll go to a paragraph about the dew that was hanging off of the leaf of grass in the morning sun. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's great. But details his thing.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well, point in just to point it out is whenever they were going into the sewer under the showers.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very long scene.
Yeah.
We didn't really need a lot of that. We knew Deke was out there. We knew he was already getting kind of fucked with by that dude was out there. That's why they were going. And then they take the 2 or 3 minutes to show him like, oh yeah, and let's walk through the sewers. That didn't lend to the story. It didn't really give anything. You know what I mean? That was probably about the only part of it that I was like, don't really need it. The few love scenes that they would have in the back of the truck stop for some reason. Yeah.
That's real American love right there.
On a dirty cot. You know what I mean?
With a belly full of biscuits and gravy and hit of methamphetamine.
There was a lot of things you trade off.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And then your background characters, fucking rad. But I think there was so much to the idea of it that I have a lot of inferences, but there was also a lot of like super cool fucking bullshit. Rockets, you know?
Right.
Fucking, you don't see the rocket fly, but all you get to see is a truck blow up. You know?
Well, of course, that's money.
You got the fucking Green Goblin truck.
Yeah.
Which is...
And that was a choice. That was actually, I think, his choice.
Yeah.
Stephen King's choice, which was one of the smartest ones. Because if it was just a truck... Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't know if you remember the TV show with a little-known gentleman called Knight Rider.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When they showed Goliath,
yeah,
that truck was intimidating. The way they filmed it, the music they played with it, you know, all the things that they do in film. So you could do it, but it was so much easier to make that connection of, like, evil, like, giving it a face, you know what I mean?
Having that face and the glowing red eyes.
Yeah.
It's iconic for one that it was on most of the covers.
Yes.
That you would see at the video store. Not necessarily theatrical, whatever, you know.
Right.
But it became the iconic image of the film.
Right.
Which has turned into a mythic cokehead, you know, sprawling whatever. But I really think it was a lot better than that. I don't think it really deserves to be like, oh, this is so shitty. Ugh. Like a fucking good movie. It was competent.
So for those of you guys that don't know the movie, the premise is that there is a meteor, right? Meteor. Or not meteor. Comet that's going by the Earth, and the Earth's going to be in its trail for how long?
It's
4
right
days
here. It's
7 days.
It's for it's like 6 days, 7 nights, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah.
yeah. So for like 6 or 7 days, it's going to be in its tail. In that time, everything that's like electrical, like becomes possessed basically, and just starts trying to kill humans.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so odd
to
premise.
varying degrees.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were met with some quite the cast of folks here. Who's our protagonist, would you say, in this?
At first, there really isn't anybody that you would,
because we're just introduced to these people.
Yeah, and we're introduced in the weirdest way too. And again, just kind of like a very simple, you know, like this is what's going on in the world, and it's a truck stop, right? So that's all we really kind of know at first, and you know they kind of establish where they're at, and then Emilio Estevez pops up.
That's
fucking Emilio,
a young Emilio Estevez,
and this was early on in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he had done Wisdom.
That's why I said young.
Yeah, and he had done a lot of stuff. Yeah, he had done a lot of things. I mean, Wisdom. Was
sure,
first
he
movie
had
that
definitely done
directed,
some
right?
things, but this was before.
Right.
This was before Billy the Kid. This was before
Young Guns. Yeah, all that shit like that. And his introduction is, I got eggs on. You know.
Yeah.
So
he's a short order cook at the truck stop. I was just going to get into some of the character breakdowns real quick.
Yeah.
He's a short order cook at a rest stop. or truck stop.
Truck
rather.
stop. Yeah,
And,
big truck stop.
Yeah.
For that time.
Yeah, it looks like it's like the only place around, right? That's that spot. There's nothing really near it so much.
No, yeah, it's on the
edge
the
of
highway.
town, yeah, but
so it's one of the big highway mega truck stops at the very beginning. So they had like a store in there and shit. They have a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep.
And it's run by Pat Hingle.
Yes.
Which he is Bubba Hendershot.
That's fact. And he's the owner, and he is Dick through most of it.
He's your typical.
So we find out that Emilio Estevez's character, right,
is out on parole.
Right.
So he has to have a job, and a short order cook, out on parole has to keep a job.
And they have to call, they can call them, like your boss could call them, whatever.
So it's that same scam that they ran in Heat. If you know Heat, they did the same thing to that guy. And he was like, so they don't really get into it because right before that scene, we get the first little taste of what might be happening, right?
Right.
So Home Dude, the guy that's filling the tank. So the
Green
attendant. Goblin comes up, right? He's
so
like,
we're at the truck stop. The attendant,
yeah, he's give me a good drink, So we don't get to see all these characters kind of start coming together until shit starts kind of fucking around. So we don't find out that he's on parole until after the dude gets the shit blown in his eye.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
I know we haven't even talked about the opening part, but so we have his introduction, and we know now that Pat Hingle's like, "No, you're working for 9 hours and only going to get paid for 8."
Right.
It's like shit. The same thing happened to Miklo.
Yeah.
And fucking Blood In, Blood Out.
That's right. I mean, that's right.
It seems like it's one of those common kind of scam things with it.
In the 80s.
And then he goes down the deal, and it's about to fucking. She's the Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
She is the waitress that was up front, right? She's the one that was dicking around on the radio that the truck drivers were like giggling about.
Right.
What the fuck was that? It was weird. And so we got those guys. We got the guy that drove the Green Goblin truck in, the toys truck in. We got the 2 attendants now. Home Dude in the back. You don't really get to see too much of him in any of the mechanics at first. And he's like, got diesel in his eye, and he's like, just flush it. So he's like, it's a shitty job, but somebody's got to do it. I got to wipe everybody's ass around, So you have this automatically, like, it seems like a very rich amount of characters that you could play with.
Right.
Big time, which I thought was really cool as an ensemble kind of a movie at that point.
I think often in King's writing that there's a lot of ensemble to it.
Right.
When you think about some of the big ones.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think it's really cool because they still hadn't introduced a couple of more characters that are very pivotal to the whole story. Right. Now, of course, besides, let's start with Emilio Estevez.
Yes.
Emilio Estevez, everybody knows him. He's badass, right? He's done a lot of really cool shit.
That's right.
So if you don't know Emilio Estevez, look him up. He was Bill Robinson in that. Then, of course, Pat Hingle, which, God damn it, we hit him. God damn it, Joey. Told you to never get your eyes off damn keys.
Doesn't he call everybody by
Bubba.
his own name?
Yeah, Bubba.
Yeah.
His license plate. I mean, Pat Hingle's he's a great character actor. I always remember from Batman because I've seen Batman as many times as this.
Sure.
But he's just he plays a role perfect.
Right.
Laura Harrington, which she is another character that's going to get introduced, kind of a little bit later. Not too much, but she becomes the love interest for Bill, and her name is Brett.
Bill Milio.
But you know what movie that Laura Harrington was in that we already covered?
Yes, I looked it up and I don't remember.
Buckaroo Banzai.
That's right.
She was only Buckaroo Banzai in that movie for like 2 scenes. She had 2 lines. That was it. It was a pretty cool thing. I mean, we've covered how many Emilio Estevez movies now?
A ton.
1.
No,
I don't know.
There was another one.
I know there's another one.
There was one other.
Yeah. And then we got Yeardley Smith. Everybody knows her voice. Everybody knows her face now because of The Simpsons. Lisa Simpson. That's her claim to everything, right? Curtis, her husband.
Yes.
That guy, weird point to me is he was in, and this is really cool. Like I didn't notice this, Apollo 13 in the Mission Control. There's two people from two famous kind of movies. This guy.
Okay.
He is one of the Mission Control dudes that kind of helps. He's a major part of the rescue. And then, remember the kid from Real Genius?
Which kid?
The
main kid?
Yeah, the main kid.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
Yeah.
He was in that too.
Really?
I saw him, and I swear to God, it's him. And I could be wrong.
Right.
And but I was like,
Great
God,
movie, by the way.
That was so cool that Steven Spielberg pulled some people from some very scientific movies. It was like those guys are perfect.
Right.
But I don't know why he was on it. But anyway, he's Curtis, right?
Right.
So we get to hear his name a million times, right? Ella McElduff, she is the one that's like, we made you.
Yeah,
she's
one
Wanda.
of the waitresses. Yes.
She's the waitress, right? She was the only other memorable thing that I can really put her in would be JFK.
Okay.
She was at the very beginning of JFK. She was the one that she was the one that was talking about Ruby, going hunting or something like that, during the storm, down south. She was the very first one right there. J.C. Quinn, he did a lot of things. I not as many as I would really.
I think he's like a TV guy or something, isn't he?
Yeah. He was on The Abyss, Days of Thunder.
Oh, there you go.
Prophecy. He did a lot of shit, but you don't really recognize him.
Right.
Because in this one, he's kind
Might be mixing him up with somebody else.
of... Yeah. He was one of the mechanics. He's the one that gets the shit in the eye.
Yes.
And then the Bible salesman. He's another one that comes into play.
Yeah.
You know what movie he was on?
No.
Barry Gordy's Last Dragon.
What?
Yeah, he was a bad guy in that one.
The main bad guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even recognize that.
Right.
And I love The Last Dragon.
right.
Holy smokes.
Frankie Faison, he's the driver of the Joker car.
Yeah.
Or not the Joker car, but the
truck.
Yeah, the truck. And then there's some more people that Leon Rippey. Leon Rippey has done a lot of really cool fucking shit too. You don't know him, but god dang, he was on Deadwood, Stargate. Damn, I'm trying to see. This dude, he's been all over everything.
I mean, he was on The Patriot.
Yeah, he was a Walker, Texas Ranger regular. From 93 to 2001 on 4 episodes.
There you go. From Eight-Legged Freaks fame.
But he was one of the main generals in Stargate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
remember that.
And pretty much everybody else were just kind of, they were their other background characters. They were all people that you would recognize, but never really be like, oh yeah, I remember that dude. They did a couple episodes of the A-Team. It's a Falcon Crest thing.
When Lisa Simpson and her fiance or recently married husband
Curtis
get there, that's a great break in the movie. Actually, it's like
cool.
Yeah, it's like kind of interesting. Again, logic, but we're gonna skip past some of that.
Yeah, I like how it's like everybody's on the road.
Right.
Of course, they have to get off the road because of the crazy shit that's happening, and you're seeing all these people converge in this one location. So the ensemble kind of, again, even with the bit players,
right?
So.
Well, we did skip over in the beginning because the first time we see something that goes bad.
Oh yeah,
is really the very beginning of the movie when we see. Stephen King actually getting money out of the ATM.
Right.
And it calls him an asshole.
And this is where you have to suspend the disbelief and you have to realize something that they do mention it. The certain objects are coming to life faster than others. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
100%.
You can apply any kind of logic to it and try to figure it out.
That's
right.
right.
See what it is. My theory is it's the aliens, of course,
sure.
but they're learning how to get into the machines, the smallest ones possible, how they can affect them first.
Right.
And they move on to the big ones. And like you said, it's like a broom, right?
Right.
So I think they're kind of clearing the way, but why would they want all of our shit?
Right. Right.
That's why I'm like, why don't you just fucking Skynet the shit? You know what I mean? You could do it, right?
Or take them all and form them into giant mechs.
Yeah, divert all the airplanes straight into one place.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
So there's that part where you can infer that all the other shit's going on.
Right.
And whenever I had that perspective on it, I was like, oh, okay, that would be way cooler.
Yeah.
That if I mean, you would see planes actually falling from the sky, or you would see cars. That's one thing. It was like the cars were the only unmanned thing. The only logical thing that I would think of would be is they were like, nah, fuck that. We're going to use the bigger vehicles to mow everybody down.
Right,
and we're
right.
just going to go from, gas station to gas station.
The
and
story
killing
wasn't
everybody
called cars; it was called trucks.
Trucks. Yeah. Which that's kind of where, I mean, that's where you have
Makes
to
it
look
scarier,
at this movie.
I think, like that it's a
something's
big-ass
manipulating
truck,
it. And just like with the disbelief that you have to, like, certain things you're like, there's no way, that's not mechanical, that's not, how did that work?
The 1986 self-propelled mower.
Yes. Yeah, where did the drive come from on that one? I mean, there's so many things that you got to think, and so I thought, well, what if it was aliens trying to figure out and manipulate those things?
Although I think that's very well could be what
They're
it is.
learning
yeah.
from the smallest pieces
100%.
because you saw all the small pieces. Because how is a fucking cord for a goddamn blow dryer going
That
to wrap
made
around?
no sense. Yeah, no sense.
There's no way that it would be like, and then just like go in Mach speed around somebody's neck and then like stop, and they wouldn't pull it out of the wall.
My favorite is when the baseball game's over.
It's the best.
And they go to get him sodas, and like the cans are hitting him in the balls and in the face, and it just kicks his ass.
It does it. It
It
kills
takes
him
out-
perfectly.
Yeah.
Because it knows where he's at.
Yeah. Somehow.
Weird, right? It knows that if it could bring him down to that level, it could get the one shot that it needs to do, and it takes three shots easily.
It was taking kids out like 20 yards out, dude.
Aiming and shit. So that's why I'm thinking, because those things hardly fucking work anyway. You have to stand your hand up in that shit sometimes to get your fucking soda pop, right?
Especially in 1986.
So you got to think that how is this aiming? So who's manning?
Yeah,
the
so there's a
fucking-
lot of logic that you
gotta, it's like, okay, how would that really happen?
That's right.
That's what I like to look at it, like the dog with the fucking remote control car in its mouth.
Yeah.
The dude with the chainsaw in the throat. Like, how the fuck does that happen?
It doesn't. There's a lot, like I said, a lot of logic that you're jumping over.
Right.
And
it's easy to make it to where it's like, don't fucking explain it. It's a fucking monster. You have no idea. Just roll with it. You know what I mean? So that's the enjoyable part about this movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can kind of, now that we've kind of gone over the cast and what,
sort of.
Yeah. Do we need to, I think that's pretty much it.
I think the only person else that was not necessarily part of the cast that we should probably talk about is the
director of
cinematographer,
photography. Director of photography. That guy right there, he deserves a medal for the shit that he had to do.
Nuzzi, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's very Italian, maybe.
Yeah, he couldn't speak English, so he only had like one interpreter on the deal, and even
Nuzzi.
even the interpreter didn't know anything. He'd always be like, yeah. He would say that every time, so everybody thought that he understood. So the accident, how did that happen?
Well, firstly, they brought Fanuzzi in, and I'm going to murder that name, keep going forward with it. Because Stephen King had so little, like by little, I mean zero directing experience, right?
Right.
So they brought in somebody who'd made a lot of movies.
And he had been on a lot of movies.
He had been on a lot of movies. So there's a particular scene where the push lawnmower is chasing down the kid. And I think it was the safety person, or maybe it was I don't think it was
all
him.
of them.
It was him. There was like one major person. It could have been somebody else on the show, but whatever told him to take the blade out of it.
Yeah, he was like, get rid of it.
And he's like, no, for authenticity, I want to have it on there. So it veers off and hits something like one of the cameras, actually.
And it hit that block of wood.
Yeah. And it cut into that and sent a splinter of wood into Funuzzi's eye. And he lost his eye, dude.
On this movie, it was like a
cinematographer.
Film. Yeah. The guy I mean, he had done Silver Bullet before this, and then he did Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
So he had a relationship with the material, and plus he was already Italian, like super famous.
Yeah. I almost wanted to do a double feature with Silver Bullet in this movie.
Yeah, maybe. But
not now.
Yeah, not now. But honestly, that really fucking sucked. And if you're a first-time director and you injure somebody like that and you don't know that they're going to lose the eyes, because I don't know how long it took afterwards.
It was months. They had to shut down production for months.
That would fuck you up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you ruin somebody's, like, at the time, too, Stephen King was a very big drinker. So he had been drinking all the time.
Yeah, they said that they'd get there at 8 a.m. and he'd be there drinking a beer, and then by 10 a.m. he'd gone through a case. Or not a case, but a 12-pack.
Like a 12-pack, yeah. For lunch, he's drinking.
It was 10 beers, something like that, but regardless.
And Stephen King even said he was coked out of his mind, but it was probably more alcohol than anything.
Yeah, I think if you're drinking that much beer in the morning and you're staying up and directing and doing things, that you're probably doing the cocaine too, though. I don't think he's lying about that.
Yeah, no, he had to, and he was very good at keeping it kind of to himself,
right?
Which was even better.
Not so much with the drinking.
Yeah, not so much with the drink because that's okay.
Yeah,
drinking's cool, huh? But yeah, no, I am. The rumor was too that George Romero was on the set, and it's probably not a rumor. He was probably there because him and Stephen King were friends. Big time friends. I mean, King wrote one of his books.
Why wouldn't you have Romero come by there?
He was a huge fan of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and he wrote one of his books. I forgot which book it was. In an apartment complex that was directly across from the Monroeville Mall.
Oh yeah.
So he actually set up, and I forgot which book it was.
That's I was just trying to think which one it was.
And I was like, holy shit! And then he did Creep Show,
right?
You know, Creep Show 2. Which was a little bit after this, I think. Not too much far. But Romero has
The Stand, was it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that took much longer than he was there. Anyways,
it was another one of his really big ones. Yeah, it was a good one. But it's like he had the help of somebody. Right. And Romero seemed like the dude that would come to your set and be like, dude, let me, you know what I mean? Let me help you.
He'd probably be just like, show me what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, can I hang out with you?
Yeah.
I love this shit. I love the way it is. He just seems like that kind of a guy. And
Absolutely.
Stephen King seems like he'd be the dude to be like, yo, what do you think? Like, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, no.
I don't know what I'm doing.
But the way that some of his shots are set up are very, very good whenever they're viewed in widescreen. This movie, I think, is a movie that needs to be watched with the correct aspect ratio because it does give it more depth. And then whenever you have, you know, the black bars, I think it really does say, okay, well, now you're having to pay attention.
Right.
You know, whenever you full screen it and shit like that, you're like, I don't really have to pay attention to what's on the side. You can see more, which is cool as fuck.
Right.
Which I think, you know, with how big the trucks were and how big the things, and it's sad that Home Dude had to lose his eyeball.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Fuck that. Sucks.
It just that's what that should tell you, folks, is you know, safety first.
Yes. When somebody says that's not a good idea, be like, why not?
Yeah. Explain to me why so that I know.
Let's not do that. All right. Which he eventually settled out of court after suing him for $18 million. He ruined his career. Now, imagine a DOP that has no depth perception.
Yeah,
you're
that's
fucked.
the problem.
Yeah. He probably could have done a lot of good work because he was in the industry and he knew what he was doing. But
I've come to the decision, though. It didn't take a lot of debate. If I ever lost an eye, I don't think I'd ever get a glass eye. I'd just wear a patch always.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, until like maybe if they could drop a cybernetic eye in there, maybe like you know what I mean, like Deathlock style.
Yeah, put a computer in that shit. You know, give me a heads-up display. I'll fucking do it with that. It's like,
Now NeuroNet owns you.
And then I get to see this always in my brain. Oh, shit. Cool. Yeah, just got the stock market. New technology, and all we do is learn about the old ones.
So back at the ranch, or the truck stop, if you will.
At the Dixie Boy.
This is where we get the electric knife, right? Just about that time?
Just about that time, after
Yeah.
Hendershot's like, hey, I'm going to get these boys. And then he realizes that pretty much everybody that works there is a felon. They're on probation and they have to work there because he notices the stars by everything.
That's
some
right.
people have 2, some people have 1, right? So he comes out, basically, he's going to try to rescue her. She's like, Billy, getting out of hand in here. She's like the worst cook. She can't cook eggs on a grill.
No, it was terrible.
It was like, holy shit, right? And
That's like, this is obviously not what I normally do.
right, and all the truckers are like, oh, sweet thing. The background, sometimes they can kind of tone it down a little bit, you know?
Right.
but then she just reaches her hand underneath something, or it's not even underneath, and the
it's on the
electric
counter,
knife's like brrrr, slices the fuck into her, right?
It does.
It's mean. What's cool about this is everybody sees it.
Yeah. And they're kind of crowding around her and getting her away from it. And then it starts going off again by itself. And then, of course, Billy comes up and smashes it.
Smashes it with a hammer. He's got like a roofing hammer in there.
Yeah.
You know, which I'm
you die. You die until you're dead.
It's like everybody got to see it, which for a monster movie or any kind of horror movie, having everybody witness it is cool as shit. You know what I mean?
Opposite day.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. What's this? Opposite day? White boy opposite day? Got this titty hanging out over here. You ain't even taking a look. The movie is called The Mac from 1974.
There you go.
No. So they're just wondering what the fuck's going on. Everybody's afraid.
Yeah, everybody's like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, that knife gets you, sweet thing. She's like, well, yeah. That reaction was weird. And then we get superstar Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
In a bit role where he's like, yo, mama.
This is the second podcast that's had him in it.
As
in a row, I mean.
That's fucking crazy, too,
Yeah.
Because he just pops in. I still do that shit with my quarters. If I have an available piece of wood or something, I'm like, and I knock it on it, and I'm like, yeah, put it in my pocket and shit. Because of Giancarlo Esposito, which he had been in our lives forever. Then he did all the Spike Lee shit. He had been in all of that stuff.
For sure.
And he's Gus Fring. Dude, the guy is like, he's part of our childhood and everything, and we didn't really even know it.
That's right.
You know?
Right. And now
Fight the
he's,
power.
what, Star Wars guy?
Yeah, Moff Gideon.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, he's robbing Twinkies and shit. So he gets killed by Star Castle.
Yeah.
the
So
video
he's in
game.
the video game section, and it starts sparking and whatever, but then the one's like, doodle-doo, 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 and then he fucking bites it.
It's like the like the cards that Venkman had.
Yeah.
Where it was like the wavy lines and shit like that. It was like a psychology
that's
thing.
perfect,
It was like, and it just got him, and then he, for some reason, it hypnotized him.
Yeah.
So that again is like, if you look at it like they're aliens controlling it.
Right. Something's controlling it.
They're like, hey, how can we fucking kill people with this? You know? So, of course, Mr. Hendershot comes in there after all of the other stuff's gone on. So we got a dude that's like lost his eyeballs.
Right.
You know what I mean? He gets
the
the
diesel guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Giancarlo Esposito. You got to say his full name.
Yes.
He dies in there, you know, full of smokes, Vantage smokes,
Right.
You know, camels, you know, and then in quarters. and now she got attacked.
Yeah.
So you have all of these things going on. So then we got to cut to the other characters that are coming in. So we already know shit's going down. Right. Because in the very first
we haven't
scene,
got the truck yet to do nothing, right?
Not yet.
Not the lights yet?
Not yet. It didn't take off on its own yet.
Right.
So that's...
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because we had...
we haven't got to Connie yet.
That's right.
Kurt and Connie, because we go to that baseball game. And that baseball game, because they kind of mention it. He's like, you get Mickey Mantle over to the baseball game in time? He's like, You don't laugh at that boy. He won 250 feet. He hit 2 balls out of that park. One of them, I swear to God, was 250 feet. You're like, God dang. So that was a really cool scene because it was like watching a Pizza Hut commercial.
Yeah, it really was.
I play right field, and he's like, competent filmmaking. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was like perfect for it. So then, of course, we get, the Coke can incident and then the fucking steamroller.
Oh yeah, the steamroller.
Damn.
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
Each one of the big vehicles had names too.
Right.
Like Duke or, Bertha.
Right.
Fucking, and Zeke. I mean, there was a whole bunch of different names that were stenciled on the side, so I forgot to pay attention to them and write them down. But this guy has his own name, and it comes after him.
Right.
Right? So, the one kid that flips on his bike, like, is this your first day? And he gets crushed.
Yep.
He gets crushed like a tube of toothpaste.
He did.
Ah, that's fucked up. Stephen King did not shy away from killing kids.
I never understood why people didn't just turn.
Well, yes. Listfully fly to the left or the right, something, I mean, just move.
Exactly. Just do a little juke.
Yeah, I don't think a semi-truck could sneak up on me.
No.
At least
it
more than
does
once.
at least once in this movie, though, sneak up.
And they don't really get into the speed. Right?
Right.
It's like, how fast is it really going? Because they didn't have that technology to show it. Because if it was like, boom, they light up the engine, boom, whoosh, boom. Okay, cool. I can see that.
That's not how it happens.
No. It was like, it's got to fucking hit the air brakes and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But see, and then we're getting, so the next one is after Zeke, he escapes and he goes through the town. He's going through his neighborhood, and that's where we see all the death, like the car crashed itself, the dog's dead, the lawnmower chases him.
Bunch of people just dead in the streets and out in their yards.
Right. Just, regular old Saturday mornings, Or maybe this was just like the Burbs that he went to, on a summer Wednesday. So people are still at work, right? Because there was not a lot of people in this town.
No.
Somebody had ordered pizza at 8:00 in the morning, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, as you do. As you do, because all pizza places are open at 8 a.m.
Yeah, to the McFly house. You know what I mean? So he's going through the sprinkler thing. That is another thing that I'm like, okay, how do you justify that mechanically? How does that work? When he's driving through the neighborhood, right, on his bike, there's no electrical parts in a sprinkler hose.
No, but in a... Yeah, because it's just a freestanding one, right?
It's all of them are the same freestanding ones.
Right.
And they're
that
just...
makes no sense.
Yeah,
I agree. That was one of the big logic leaps. I'm like...
That was the only thing. It's cool because it was a warning, but what was it fucking using? And you can't... Okay, cool. They have an automatic water timer. Does everybody in the neighborhood? At least these 4 houses? Yeah, so that was the only one that I was like, whatever. It's a fucking movie about trucks coming to life.
Yeah.
And then you got King of the Road coming up, right? King of the Road, he's the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
And, it's like he's stalking, which is cool. It's got hair in his fucking grill and shit, You're like, damn, that's so fucking scary, menacing, So King of the Road. And it's like crafty. It's like a cool, crafty thing. So, which I like to think that the ones that woke up earlier got smarter faster, or if they were being manipulated, could get manipulated better by the one person, the alien or whatever that was controlling it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like remote controlling it with their mind. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but that's the only way it works.
Could have just been energy,
right?
Yeah.
But what was the? Well, we'll get to that. But anyway, so yeah, he gets down. He's going to his dad's place, right? He's got to go find his dad.
Yeah.
And then we get that.
His dad, by the way, works at the truck stop.
He's the one that got the diesel in the eye.
Diesel in the eye.
Yeah, flush his ass. I worked on those voices forever. Flush his ass. Oh, is that all? Or the state of North Carolina. So this is where we get the Bible salesman.
Yes.
So the Bible salesman, we don't really know much about it. We see another car on the road. It's just the only car on the road. No more trucks, no more nothing, right?
Right.
So it kind of zooms in, and we got this guy, one step at a time, sweet Jesus. You know, I mean, he's kind of, but you could tell he's like a creepy, weird dude because the passengers, the love interest, Laura Harrington,
Yeah.
Brett or whatever. Yeah, is it Brett or something like that?
Yeah.
So he starts feeling on her and shit. And you know the dude's just a fucking creepy dude because the first things is they put on there, he's got a brand new fucking car, right?
Right.
And he's got those little pamphlets that you see that you're just like, why?
Yep.
Why do you got to put these everywhere? I get it. You know, it's like a lawyer day, you know, and it's weird shit that they would have in those. And I get it, but sometimes the people that do that are the worst kind of people.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Stephen King was doing in that.
Yeah.
He's like, no, fuck that. We're gonna kill the Bible salesman. So yeah, he's a weirdo. I think he's a serial killer anyway, and he kind of got interrupted.
Yeah, could have been.
Yeah, because he
definitely a creep.
He's a creep. He could be a serial rapist. He could be a serial killer. Yeah. And the only other thing that gives it away to me is he grabs his Holy Bible box or his suitcase to run out to protect his car.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Unless you had something in there you didn't want people to see.
That's true. Or if that's just your livelihood.
Yeah. I'm going to rip them off, boy. I'm going to tear them off. He's like, what the fuck?
She actually, like...
She forces him off the road because we get that radio.
Into the truck stop.
Yeah. He's like, I ain't been able to get... So apparently he just picked her up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we don't get to see that. Yeah. And she's going down to Florida, I guess. And she's trying to find something on the radio, but I don't know why she's sitting in the middle of the car instead of further over.
Yeah.
You know, do you need a better vantage point to fucking move?
Move away from the psycho.
Put the armrest down. That's a good indication to stay away. So they actually end up getting there, and then that's when we get to see the first truck go off.
That's right.
The toys for Here Comes a Truckload of Toys. I always call it the Joker thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it really isn't the Joker. It's the Goblin.
It's a Green Goblin,
Yeah, the Goblin truck just goes after him.
Yep.
And it rips off the deal for the gas pump and everything. And, of course, Emilio Estevez is like, shit. I gotta fucking grab this dude. So he moves him out of the way.
Okay.
And that's where, because the guy's like, I ain't hurt no talk. He's so offended, right?
Right.
Because she's like, if you touch me one more time, you're gonna be wiping your ass with a hook from now on. He's like, I ain't never. See, that's why again I think he's a serial killer. He's got to make a big deal of it.
One thing you'll notice here too is she's dressed with like a jacket on and a hat, and that was Stephen King's decision.
And jeans.
Yeah. But you'll notice an immediate wardrobe change due to the studio,
which is like
very 80s.
De Laurentiis came in and was like, "No, we need more titties. We need more boobs, legs, gums.
Show us the skin."
Yeah, I don't even know if that's what a De Laurentiis sounds like.
I don't either.
But that is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really stupid. And of course he's like, what in the holy shit is going on? So of course they have to show the dude. And he's like, must have been a hot wire champagne.
Yeah.
Bling. They're like, what the fuck? Right. So they're still like, they've seen the dude die in the arcade.
Right.
They had the scissor or the knife come to life.
The electric knife. Yeah.
Yeah. The dude get blasted in the eyeballs with the fucking diesel. Now the truck is fucking after them.
Right.
So they're all inside like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, inside would offer me little protection and something like that.
Especially like with the big glass windows and the...
Right. And this is very early on in the whole 8 days that they're in this tail of the comet, right? So this is like day 2 or something like that. I think it was the day before is whenever the comet had passed by. So it had only taken a little while for it to kind of... shit's starting to wake up,
right?
So they're in the diner, they're chilling out. Then we cut to our last two, Connie and Kurt, on their wedding, whatever you call it.
Yeah, their honeymoon. They're just on their way out
in the
married.
Yeah, in the Chrysler, whatever car it is. Their husband and wife talking is like, well, we better pull over to get some gas. And she's like, yeah, I got to pay. He's like, can I come in and watch? And she's like, no, you can't come in and watch, Curtis. It's fucking rules, right? And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. That's like a real comment that like husband and wife might say.
Boy, yeah, and she's like really over the top, though, like complaining.
Yeah. I mean, after a little while, so they pull over into the service station, but
she's freaked out.
Yeah, but this is weird.
It's understandable
because okay, so the lights on the train were moving, right? That's mechanical. I get that. It's not going to chop anybody's head off.
Right.
It's a warning thing.
Right.
But then the lights in the junkyard from all the cars. So the cars already in the junkyard were being affected, but why wasn't the car that they were driving being affected?
Well, of course, there's your logic again. But the magic wand to that is they wake up at different times.
Right. But why?
That's your interpretation? No.
Yeah.
They wake up at different times. If you can't figure that out, then just don't watch the movie.
Don't watch it. You don't know.
That's all you get.
But and he's like,
Superman is strong enough because he's Superman.
because he can fly and he can reverse the world.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah,
it's inertia.
Logic. Anyways,
they get out there and they see the service attendant. I guess it was a full service station still in a little bitty town with nobody else in it.
That's right.
And he's covered in blood. His brain is smashed.
Yes.
Or it looks like it is, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Connie's freaking out.
Yeah, of course she is. Well, because he went around the corner and left her.
Yeah. Is
so
he
that he
dead?
could check into Yeah.
Of course, I think so. And then Bertha comes around the corner.
Right.
And you have that distinctive like starter. Fucking gets there and almost runs him over.
Yeah.
Which all he had to do was really step to the side.
He was like, aha.
Olé. And then he winds up on the ground and he's all dirty now.
Yeah.
And the thing comes, he's like, man, there's nothing in there. What the fuck? So she gets in and drives and fucking whips him away.
Right.
So
their car unaffected.
Right.
Yes.
So we get a little bit more of Zeke, coming down the highway, seeing like the the airplane flying over because the airplane was taken over at that point. There it is right there.
Yep.
And so we get a little bit more of Kurt and Connie before they show up.
That's true.
Because they're sitting at that diner. Because the diner scene that comes up is whenever Home Dude eventually dies. Because he's eating that weird egg sandwich. The Bible salesman.
Oh, yeah. So for sure. He's like trying to sell Bibles to people that are there. So that's how you know he's a desperate
he's just doing his job. Yeah.
Weird guy.
He doesn't even think anything's wrong.
And that's when it attacks his car, right?
Well, it basically kills Duncan, which was the kid's father.
That's right.
It runs him over because he's all got the shit in his eyes.
Yeah, because he comes out like yelling.
He's like, "Hey, I'm going to get my son. I don't know what the fuck's going on."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they all try to stop him. They're like, "No, man, no. Are you really going to go after Zeke?"
And he
like,
can't see.
No, he had diesel in his eyes, so he's all fucked up. He needed more time to recover, but his son's out there.
Yeah.
So he's a single father, I guess.
Right.
That's what
it implies.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what it implies. And he just wants to go get his kids. But even though he's blind, he's still very Butterfingery.
Yeah. Well,
he drops his keys right in front of the deal. He dies, right?
Right. Well, that's how it works when you're blind. You just lose all agility.
Yeah. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
Lose one sense, all the rest of them suffer.
That's right. That's how it works.
Yeah. So that's whenever it circles back around. And then all of a sudden it hits fucking Home Dude's car that's just like parked in the middle of nothing.
Yeah. The salesman's.
Yeah, his Cadillac, right?
Yep.
They parked it wherever, I guess they stopped earlier.
It was all by itself.
Right. Yeah. And
so
then
it had enough run to get at it.
And then it fucking rips it. And he's like, I'm going to tear him off, boy. He comes running out there. And then that's whenever the Goblin truck knocks him out.
Yep.
Flies him over the deal. So there's 2 deaths right in front of him. They're like, holy shit. God damn. And so we know that Kurt and Connie are on their way because the next part of that is whenever Emilio Estevez, because he already had gotten into the truck to see.
Right.
what was going on. So he was kind of skeptical, and the truck almost killed him once before Laura Harrington came out and like grabbed him.
Yeah, with the Jack in the Box.
Yeah. So so after he's looking at it, yeah, and he's like leaning behind it and everything.
Yeah.
And he's like so totally ready to be killed. And the truck's like starting, hitting the air brakes or whatever.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like fucking engaging shit. And then it's like, and then
And there's some background love
she's like, "You're
interest
cute."
stuff. Yeah.
He's like,
That
"Yeah."
happens.
Ha, ha, ha.
Sort of. Yeah.
Well, it was a very traumatic event, I guess. And
Everybody got laid. Oh.
yeah. And he did.
Yeah.
She's like, "You're kind of cute." He's like, "Really? Not that cute." Shit. So I'll grow on you.
Got a cute. Got some butter.
I got some butter, baby. So finally, we get to see Kurt and Connie. They arrive because they get chased by Lincoln Hawk's truck.
That's right.
Yeah.
For those of you who are unfamiliar, Lincoln Hawk, Sylvester Stallone.
Yes. And
Not in this movie, by the
Nope.
way. No. But
His truck.
Just his truck.
Yeah, it looked like it,
It
like
did.
identical to it, except for it didn't have the arm exerciser in it.
Right, of course.
Same color, same everything.
Yep.
It was just one of those that model of truck.
It was probably on set.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, that was a cool one.
That's a cool truck. Yeah,
Yeah,
they use
that's
that
all.
over in that movie.
Because they're driving down the road and they see all the trucks just on the other side. Where are they going? Right.
Yep.
So again, that's my imagination goes crazy. But he's like, we get to that truck stop and call somebody, right? Because they have to escape it.
Right.
It's crushing their car. This thing's like a fucking super badass Lincoln Hawk truck, right? And it's like boom, boom, and he ditches it, right? Barely, and then it explodes.
Right.
Then the thing's like boom,
Yeah, definitely the 80s explosion, too.
takes a tumble.
Things explode in this movie.
Right. So they end up outside of the fucking deal. They have all the other people are just still kind of like, what the fuck's going on? Home dude's dead now. What the hell?
Right.
And they're out there, and it says "Good luck, Kurt and Connie" on their trunk.
Right.
But it's crushed right before he's about to make the gap.
Yeah.
He's got to go through the gap to get in because
It's across the highway.
Right. It's across the highway and across a big giant parking lot with 8 other trucks running around in a circle. And he times it horribly.
But they do it.
Yeah. They get across and it's funny. She's like, "You're not my Curtis. Don't touch me with that." I just love the back commentary.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
It's so funny. She's like, "Where are you, Curtis?"
She's definitely some comic relief of that movie, you know?
Well, they make it back, right?
And
then
because everybody's very straight-laced in this movie. There's not a lot of... It's not like a horror comedy, but she brings a light touch to it.
just like Wanda does.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
just like everybody, really. Kind of. There's not a lot of
I
comedy.
feel like
from this.
Emilio Estevez plays it pretty straight.
He plays it pretty straight because I think the character that he had, I like the idea of, he was like, because he has a little soliloquy or, a monologue where he's like, I fucked up. I didn't really do anything. But I think it was him more being like, oh shit, what is going on? I might as well fucking do something about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unlike the other people that are like, no, I'll just fucking hang out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's when we get to the first law firing. The rocket launcher that's a one-time use only.
Yeah, it turns out Bubba's got like an armory.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he fires that rocket, destroys the one truck
Right.
that was going after Kurt and Connie.
Yep.
Right? And that's the toilet paper truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it flies everywhere.
Yeah, so they get toilet papered. They make it back and everything, and they're just kind of looking at everything like, holy shit, watching the car get destroyed. The trucks are being vindictive at that point.
Right.
And so they're just all like, they just hang out there for like a long time, right? So you get a little bit of that. And
You get a little bit of back character through that too.
yeah, and the Laura Harrington, she's like, maybe it has something to do with the comet.
Yeah.
So it's kind of putting that in there. It's like logical.
Right.
So the smartest people are the ones that nobody respects.
That's right.
What do they call her? What do you call her? A road twitch?
Yeah.
Road Twitch, and then he was a college boy.
Yeah.
You bright boy. You bright. I know it. You went to college. You bright boy. What the fuck? It's like what Pat Hingle put into that was like an old like slaver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think that there was probably still a lot of that mentality,
Which is fucked up.
you know,
But
in the 80s in the South.
But what's smart, and the only thing that's smart, is the character that he created for that.
Yeah.
It's like he had control in that character. He had enough wherewithal to just be like, I'm going to be myself, but racist. You know? Okay. But really not. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He was just kind of like, it was
Definitely
it was a generational thing. It was a
Yeah.
generational like part for him. You know, it's like,
For sure.
I knew tons of dudes like that. You know?
100%.
So of course, his cigarette lighter or his whatever cigar lighter.
Yeah,
guy,
okay.
Yeah, has to carry around the rockets with him. He's like,
That's
how
his
much more?
son, right?
Is it his son?
I think so.
Yeah, and he's like, how much more you got down there? He's like, we got everything. He's like, shut up, Bubba.
Which later Emilio Estevez is like, hey, you got to tell me, Bubba.
Yeah, he's like, where did you, is there more of that? And he's like, got it in my Christmas stocking, Bubba. So, yeah, that's when we get that, where they actually go down there. And you see both of the bodies are there. She freaks out. He comes down, tells a story. Emilio Estevez pulls the 90 Day Fiance, like, fucking, he's like, I'm not good enough for you. There's a dude on 90 Day Fiance, one of the first. It was after, and this dude was like he married some Filipino woman or something like that, right? Laotian or something like that, right? But he had gotten in trouble with the law for like arson or something like that, and that was like the end of the fucking world. He didn't tell her for like 3 months. And, you know, it was something crazy, and then he finally does. He's like, I understand. You don't want to love me anymore. And he ran off, and I was like, whoa. So you got to watch it.
Wow.
90 Day Fiance
Not gonna
after the
happen.
90 days, you know, or before the 90 days.
Not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
I appreciate your update, though.
Yeah. But so we have all of that shit going on. Emilio's finally like, fuck it, I'm standing up to it, you know? And then that's whenever they have to go rescue the old dudes, because they're all sitting in there just chilling. The jukebox goes off. They cut the power.
Right.
You know, I like it. It's the Last Supper. There's a lot of really cool things that they threw in with that.
Yeah.
They show the Last Supper, and he pushes the one AC/DC song. Here's another. You know, and then it's like, boo. And they're like, son of a bitch. But everybody's loaded because they're drinking Miller High Life. There's
That's
a
right.
truck of Miller High Life out there.
That's right.
It's like the Miller High Life's like the beer of.
It's the champagne of beers.
It's the champagne of beers, but it's also the beer of Hollywood.
It's the beer of Holocaust.
So they're all fucked up. They hear the dude just go, oh.
Yeah. So now they got to go figure out a way to rescue him.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, again, it's the right thing to do.
Right.
But then the way that they have to get there, one truck notices them. They get down there. They get all the way through it. That's when Deacon was trying to get through there, and Home Dude wakes up, and he's like, pull me. Help me. He's like, you're too heavy. I don't know what to do.
Freaking me the fuck out.
Yeah, because his eyes were open.
Yeah.
And then he just like fucking wakes up, you know?
Yeah.
And then so they actually get through it after they have their little 10-minute like scene of them traversing the sewer tunnels.
Yeah, Curtis and Emilio.
Curtis
Billy,
and,
if you will.
Curtis and Bill.
Curtis and Bill.
So there's a little bit of character building there.
Yeah. And there is some in there because, like, he goes, even though he just got married, you know, like, he's a brave dude, really.
Yeah.
He's like, no, if there's somebody to be saved, I'm going.
Yeah. And he's and of course she's freaking out.
No, Curtis.
Curtis, don't you go out there, Curtis. Don't make me a widow on my wedding day.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, he's a lot younger and Emilio's a lot younger. So you have the younger guys in the whole deal. They're just like, no. You have the old archetype owner. This is like, fuck it. I got what I need right here, and I'll do whatever
I'll
it
defend
takes.
myself.
Yeah. Because then, at one point, he tells Duncan, he's like, you don't punch out on time, you don't punch out ever again. He's
Yeah.
like, I'll knock your teeth down your fucking throat.
That's right.
Because he's just an asshole, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then you got the bystanders that are like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And like the one dude's like, I fucking hate trucks. I've always hated fucking trucks. Fuck trucks. That dude has got like some of the best lines, best everything. Especially when he busts through the door.
Yeah.
And this coming up soon. So they rescue Zeke. They get through, and they're all celebrating because they explode another truck, right?
Yep. Trucks are exploding.
Yeah, how many rockets do you got? Just
like
blow
3
them all
or
up.
4, right? At
Blow them all
least.
up. Yeah, just fucking blow them up or make it impassable and then like escape into the fucking woods behind it. You know what I mean? That's all they had to do after they figured out,
Yeah.
shit's coming alive. Let's
yeah.
go somewhere where there's no
I don't
electronics.
understand why that didn't happen a long time ago. I would have been out.
Right.
Like, I would have thought of that a long time ago.
You couldn't
I
have
guess
held
they
me
didn't know
hostage.
until the kid came through, right?
That kind of...
Is that right?
Well, Kurt and Connie had showed up, so they
Right.
had already seen shit, you know.
Right.
The
But
Bible
I mean, I
salesman
didn't
didn't.
saying I don't think they knew about the way in. And
Oh
way out.
yeah. Well, they knew of the one that they
Right.
could go through.
Right.
Bill already did that, but there was the other one that they were talking about.
Right.
That they had to get to cut it because it was
Yeah.
blocked.
That's right.
That's where Deacon showed up at the first time. And then he made it across, closer to it, and then had to go through the sewer.
Yeah, and he gets to see all that like as all these trucks are coming in because
Right.
what happens now, Brock?
Well, we got to touch on him. The kid coming in, they rescue him, right?
Right.
They get him inside, and he's like, "Hey, Bill, where's my dad?"
Yeah.
And he's trying to be totally cool with it and wait for the right time, but he's not saying anything. He should have said something a long time ago.
Right.
But then Hendershot's like, "One of the big boys scrub your old man." It's like, she's like, "Fuck you," So it's automatically it's like a family.
Yeah.
His picture's on the fucking desk in the back. You know what I mean?
Right.
So everybody knows Deacon.
Right.
So his dad's gone. You know what I mean? They were all friends. Which is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
So we get the kind of them all sitting around drinking all night, smoking cigarettes, playing footsies under the table and shit.
Right.
And then the next day, Deacon's woke up and he's looking out the window because he's coloring or something, drawing. And he looks out and he sees a fucking, like an NPC or some shit like that coming.
Yeah.
And the fucking thing has got a rifle on the top
A
of it.
50 cal.
Yeah.
On top of it.
50 caliber fucking machine gun. How does that fire itself?
And how does it not run out of bullets?
Right. Every time. You go through that, they must have went through 200 rounds just in the opening salvo.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you go through those rounds pretty quick. You know
right.
What I mean?
Right. Well, the dump truck's with them too. Or
The bulldozer.
Bulldozer. They have
Yeah,
a bulldozer coming with it. And the bulldozer is riding in the which is funny because it was riding in the culverts,
Uh-huh.
So it wouldn't fuck up the road.
Right. That's how they get around, man.
Yeah, but if they were to really be on the road, they'd probably get there a little bit faster,
That's true,
instead of that
that's
shit. But, production. You can't computer graphic that shit.
That's right.
That's what really happened.
Especially not in 1986.
Right. So he pushes Bubba's car into the deal. Bubba freaks out. He's like, "Fuck you." And then blows it up, and he's like, and he gets fucking blown away.
Yeah, he gets killed.
Dang. Oh, and then the dude, because when it starts getting loud and the bulldozer's moving shit, the dude pops out of the arcade. He's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Well, best entrances ever.
Yeah.
I had to stop my wife. I was like, "Stop playing your game. Watch the screen. Keep watching. She's like, "Did I miss it?" I'm like, No. And it finally comes and she's like, "Oh. Thanks." But no. So he dies. He gets fucking hit by like 8 bullets.
Yeah. All
Fucking
the
so many
bullets.
people are dying.
And it just goes right across the windows too, just where everybody's at.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has to jump down, and some folks don't make it.
Red Dawn style.
That's right.
So of course the military thing growls at them. I like how they added the growls or the weird kind of like,
Right.
the weird shit like the ice cream truck did it.
Yeah.
The lawnmower did it. Everything was kind of like, ugh. Like I'm a monster.
And that's when it starts, like, well, later on, it starts giving him Morse code.
Yes. Well, in some dude's in disbelief. He's like, nah, it isn't. And he's like, nah, man, I got a merit badge in it last summer.
Yeah.
Why would you doubt
Well,
it?
he's a deacon, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just did the...
So he writes it, and they're like, someone will fuel us, someone will not die, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So they're like, they want to, fuck them. Let them starve to death. They're almost out of gas. And then...
That's...
Yeah.
They're like... they just basically threaten him again.
Basically.
Yeah.
And Emilio's like, listen, because
he's had it. He's had it now.
They're like, we ain't got no power. And so they click the power on, right?
Right.
And then he goes back there, let me turn on the pumps. Hope they brought their American Express. He goes back there, and she's like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, listen, that thing could call in a fucking truck and hose his place down. Not flying or anything like that. He's talking about like a fucking truck and kill us all. So, but he doesn't want to come into the building, and none of the trucks will because they'll go into the cellar, which is, did they know that? His rationale was like, let's fucking give them what they want.
Right.
Which they hadn't come up with a plan at that point.
Right.
They were just like, well, I guess we'll work for a couple of hours and be so exhausted that we can't stand up anymore.
Right.
Because it was 8 hours in 95-degree heat.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You know what I mean?
Pumping gas next to a bunch of hot metal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It would suck. It would fucking just be like, ugh. The fumes would get you. She's like, I hope they choke on it. It was like the worst, And then she looks back and you see all those trucks approaching.
Yeah.
2 by 2, And they're all coming in to get
all
gas.
over, yep.
Right? They finally run out, and he's
we
like,
got some humans now.
yeah. Finally runs out, and he's like, all right, that's it. And that's when the end of Hell's Bells ends.
Yeah.
It's like, bung, bung. And then the truck's like, yo, bitch, I got more fuel. So he makes him fuel it up, right?
Right.
Home dude comes out there, and the goblin truck driver grabs him and is like, yo, we got some stuff down. We're getting stuff ready. We're going to use that same way you got out before. We're going to go.
Right.
Because he described to her earlier on.
He makes him go take a nap.
Yeah. Early on, he talks to her about going to, the little island that has no electrical cars on it.
Right.
Cool. Logical.
Right.
Just like the woods.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to watch out for weed whackers in the wood, I guess.
Just go to the mountains.
Yeah, why not? You can find something, unplug the electricity. Jesus. But so...
You can go to places without electricity.
Right. And then he's laying there and, he's got blisters on his hands and she's rubbing him down. And he's like, they're like the brooms. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean the brooms? He's like, they come down and if you wanted to take over a place, you just get rid of all the old shit, right? So you just sweep everybody away. That's what they were doing. Yeah. So, which made me think about the aliens controlling everything, especially the stuff that's non-mechanical, and learning more, and then using the big trucks to go from gas station to gas station and town to town to destroy everything in its path.
Right.
And then after it's over with, then they can come populate the earth.
Right.
So it's kind of like ID4?
A little bit, like yeah.
So I could see that. I could see them actually using that. And then he kind of describes it, and then, of course, he wakes up, and he's like, hey.
Yep.
He doesn't even know the dude's name that's on the bulldozer, right? Dude's chilling on the bulldozer, or he's like filling up something. He's like, hey, mister, come here. Think would ask his name.
Right.
That dude is like, what are you going to do? It's like, just when I say run, I need you to run. Well, why? Bill, what are you going to do? Shut up, dude.
Just do what I said, mother.
He's like, this is some people business.
That's right.
Something you don't know nothing about. That's about the only Southern he goes.
That's true.
So, of course, he blows up the fucking deal. The trucks start to revolt.
That's right.
They start crushing shit. And they start going after everything. And they're already like, hey, let's get the fuck out of here. Yep. So they escape. They get rolling down the road, and then they get to see them destroy fucking the Dixie Boy truck stop.
That's right.
They just start driving into it, falling in the cellar, doing whatever. They're all armed. They're on the way to the marina, which I guess is only...
I don't know what those guns are going to do for them, really. I mean, if you're a great shot, you can take out some tires and gas.
Maybe.
You
But
know,
even
tank,
then, it's
maybe.
not going to explode.
No, because that's not how gas works.
It's just going to go, boom. Oh, cool.
Oh, fuck. It's going to run out of gas faster.
Yeah. Let's just knock it. Let's just put holes in the gas tanks. That's the way we win this war.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah. And that leads into the Goblin truck.
Yes.
It's patient.
Yes,
it
the
just
Goblin
waits.
truck is patient.
It just waits, and it's like, I'm going to get this motherfucker that I almost got a little while ago. You know, I'm going to, he got away from me. I'm going to get this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it means enough to him, you know, whatever's controlling that truck that's like, motherfucker.
Did he listen?
Please.
Where's he going? Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. I'm getting after this bitch.
Well, they go past the bus with the airplane that was unmanned.
Yeah.
That had crashed into it. Fuck, man.
Yeah, man.
Jesus, everything you did, you know? And then they get to, you know, what was it, the Burger Barn? And it's a human here, human here, human here, human here.
Also doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, why is that
Why is
speaking?
there a voice? Yeah.
Yeah, there was no automatic voice. Maybe it was manipulating. Maybe the aliens were learning to manipulate the electricity.
I believe
to their
that. I
means.
believe that. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
only way it plays out. Right?
So they were like, "Oh shit, anything awake."
Right.
So, but okay, here's another thing. Here's some. The ending is a classic Stephen King ending. It didn't end well. You know, it didn't have a lot of like. This is a great ending.
I shouldn't say most, but there's a good percentage of his books that are very much like that. And the books are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh.
That was it?
And I get it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And,
Ending stuff's hard.
Of course. And like in this, the one dude gets snuck up on by the Goblin truck.
As you do.
Yeah, he's like, oh!
That's where you're like, okay.
Yeah, but the woman was dead because her car window
That's right.
fucking killed her. Why didn't that car just wake up and be like,
That's what I would, and again, logic. Right?
So Bill finally gets the last rocket out of the law. That's what it's called, I think, is like the LAAW or something, right? Yep. And so he fires that, they get on the deal. He knows how, he's like a merchant marine or some shit, right? Because he kind of describes it. She knows how to sail too. Right. But yet they don't know how to untie a knot. So they have to use Mother's Little Helper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, give me Mother's Little Helper. And they cut it. This fucking 2-inch rope with that shit. And they cast off. Yep. You know? So then we get, you know, it was actually, there was aliens up there because a Russian satellite literally was up there, but it had lasers and class something nuclear missiles, and they take down the spaceship that was up there.
Right.
So, and then the Dixie Boy people survive because they leave the trail of the comet.
That's right.
So maybe the aliens went from world to world vindictively.
Okay.
Because how were they going to populate it with one spaceship?
Well, maybe that's just the scout that comes and
Wipes
does
everything
that,
out.
you know?
Maybe it's the Mary Maid, huh?
Yeah. Very well could be.
Me nos clean. Yeah, it's the cleaners, yeah. But that's why the alien really kind of puts it together.
Well, he's absolutely, and that wasn't part of the book. It didn't expound, or the story. It didn't expound that far into it.
Sometimes you don't need the extra.
Yeah, no. Well, he was the king of doing some short stories that, like, you know, the great basis. You know, like early on, especially.
Running Man, any of the Bachman stuff that was more sci-fi than it was horror.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of in a vein though. I mean, because at this point he had already had Christine out, so like there was a little bit of something to that, right? Like, oh, this is a thought I've had more than once about different ways, though, right? Like the one again explained nothing of how it happened, really.
Well, and then
the other one was like a goose.
Yeah, but then he did From a Buick 8.
Yeah.
And
well, that's much later, though.
A weird, funny fact, which is really shitty for him, is the day that he got hit by the car or the truck is the same day.
The van, right?
Yeah, this is the same day that this was set on. That the comet passed. It was like
April.
April. No. It was 2 days ago.
Oh.
No shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We have been watching this Maximum Overdrive, the whole like anniversary of it happening. You know?
Well, at least our electronics didn't come alive and like burn our eardrums out while we were making this.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
And then our microphone would somehow magically punch us in the face.
I get strangled by my headphone cord.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's pretty much the movie, man. I'll tell you, like we were kind of alluding to in the beginning, like this is not a movie to be taken, like just go have fun and watch it, right?
Of course.
Like this is not a movie that you can like jump
Marble
into like logically and just be like pick it apart, or you're gonna have a terrible time.
It's a Marlboro Man movie.
Yeah.
Harley Davidson Marlboro Man. It's another
Absolutely.
movie that is good every time you watch it. And especially for us, because we saw it when we were really young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like somebody with Emilio Estevez, because we did Repo Man.
Yeah.
And Emilio Estevez was kind of like, I don't know, it's like almost like a Dennis Hopper of that generation. He was kind of like the guy that was like doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Wasn't he in The Wraith as well?
No,
that was Sheen.
Yeah, Sheen was in the
Sheen
Wraith.
was in The Wraith.
But it was the same year.
Yeah, yeah.
So they
That's
both
right.
had like killer vehicle movies in the same year. And one was Sheen and the other was Estevez.
Yes.
But watching that documentary with him, and I was like, dang, he seems like he's really down to earth.
Yeah,
You know, he
I'm
seems
sure.
like he's like, you're like, that guy stayed away from Hollywood in a
Right.
good way.
Absolutely. Well, Brock, what would you rank this movie out of 10?
Of course, I'm going to rank it at
Out of
100.
10 truckloads of
Big
funny
pins.
games.
I give it 3 Big Pin trucks and 2 Green Goblin trucks for a total of 5 out of 5 long haul trucks.
Nice, nice. I would give it, honestly, if you take it for what it is, like, is this a movie that would make my top 50 movies of all time just because of anything in it that's cinematic? No, it's not going to. There are parts, that I really enjoy, and there are parts that are cinematically very cool. There's a lot of cool parts, but it's not it's not on par with a lot of other movies.
Right.
Is all I'm going to say.
Right.
Again, you explained it very well. It's like here's $6,000, 6,000.
Yeah. Here's $6 million. Go make a movie.
Go
guys.
make a movie. Yeah,
Cool.
And you've never directed before.
Yeah. Here's a whole studio at your backing. Just tell me what you want.
But there are things I like about it, and I think one of the things that King does well in his writing is that he builds up those background characters very well. Right. And whether you like them or hate them, you have an opinion about them, which you don't in a lot of other movies. Right? They're just there.
Yeah.
So I saw some of that come through in his directing style, in his script.
Right.
It
was more grounded.
Yeah.
It was more. It wasn't aggrandized. It wasn't. I don't know if that's the right word, but it wasn't tropey in a way.
Yeah.
It was, but it was accessible.
And I don't.
You could relate to those characters.
And some things I feel like people say are tropey, maybe weren't tropey in 1986 yet.
I don't know.
Some of them, you know what I mean?
You
Not
think,
all of them, just some of them.
You think about like the hero's journey with this one too,
Right? Sure.
You kind of put that into perspective for it. Yeah, there's a huge story in there with the main character,
Bill.
With Bill, which it seems we only got a glimpse of everything and nothing really to kind of tie us back to reality. I guess it was just more like everything's different now.
I wonder how they stay on the island.
Well, when you think
trucks too,
yeah, when you think speedboats get pissed and be like, "Fuck it, let's ring," it's like speedboats are at it again.
Yep.
They're fucking flying up. What the fuck?
Minimum impact.
Yes. Just boats running aground. It's like, God dang, I can't wait till that thing runs out of gas.
Just sitting over there.
God, I was enjoying the afternoon. Now, that's I disagree as far as putting it in my top 50. It's going to be in my top 50.
Oh wow! Okay.
I was thinking about it. And I romanticize a lot of this stuff, and I really do back, the horses limping at the back of the herd. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But this movie, I think, was It is as basic as it gets. It's a great movie. I fucking love it. A lot of people, love it, but they hate it. It is what it is, and it came it came at a point in my life where I was very impressionable and very young.
Sure.
But then also at the same time understanding the story structure of it and just the coolness of it, the cool fantasy of it. It's like trucks coming to life. That's fucking rad.
Absolutely. And that Green Goblin truck stuck in your mind. You know what I mean?
You're getting into comics, and then that ties with it. And then you're just like, holy shit, there's a lot of cool shit out there.
And again, it's a great movie. I enjoy it. I would give it probably, for what it is, I would probably give it 4 long haul trucks out of 5.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it every time I watch it.
Right.
Right. So
it's again, just like the double feature we did. Marlboro Man, and what was the other movie?
Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers, yes. Yeah. Yes. I mean, this one would have paired well with The Gate. No.
I thought about that, but I really thought that maybe Silver Bullet would have been the better pairing if we did a double feature.
I think this movie deserves a second look. It deserves more of a critical look at it, but more of a fun critical look.
Yeah.
Just like have fun with it and see how fun it is.
This is entertainment at the end of the day.
See
you know
how
what
fun
I mean?
it
That's
is.
the thing.
Celebrate the fun of it.
Absolutely.
And
I say that, but not being in my top 50 because there's so many more movies like cinema.
Oh yeah.
The cinematography's better. The writing's, awesome. The production value is so good based on a minimal budget, or you know what I mean? Right. So I think my 50 list would fill up pretty well. And I'm not saying this wouldn't be in my top 100.
No, and that's exactly what I was saying, because that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking, quantifying 100 movies, that's a lot of fucking movies. Yeah. And I would put this up there pretty high. So where would I put it? I kind of put it in the middle because it's not one of my absolute favorites, but it's not a horrible movie that I'm just kind of like trying to be like, this is really good. It's just a good fucking movie, like most of Romero's movies. So that's why the ghost rumor of him directing it. Why wouldn't you be there to help your friend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why the fuck not? And he loved movies, so he set up his shots in a very good way.
Agreed.
To where you can view. That's why widescreen on that movie makes so much more sense.
Sure.
Just a little bit of extra screen makes the truck seem fucking more menacing.
Absolutely.
Everything in that part of it. You have this very open, dead landscape, and you just have these big machines.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was a great idea, and it sucks that Stephen King fucking hates it too.
Yeah.
And I think it was more that's a big influence, from everybody else saying, oh, how shitty it is, and you're just like, fuck it, it is. But cool, but own up to it. Enjoy
there's
it.
a lot of movies that aren't way worse than this that I enjoy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You think Tommy Wiseau was like, man, this movie, The Room ruined my life? No.
No.
Stephen King, it's cool. Don't direct again, but keep writing. Enjoy the fucking movie.
I think he did okay with the writing.
He did everything cool. Yeah.
You
The movie was cool. The soundtrack was cool.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the soundtrack for the trailer that we played earlier, isn't that from Halloween 3?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the same music.
Yeah. Well, then AC/DC, they came out with the record Who Made Who.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they came out with Who Made Who.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure
that was supposed to be the soundtrack of this movie.
Yeah, it was like 4 tracks that they had made specifically for it. They did some background music, and then they released it all on a record, but they didn't put that it was from Maximum Overdrive.
Right.
So there's like a little sticker missing.
Yep.
So nobody knew that it was a soundtrack. But I think this was one of the earlier records with their second lead singer. So if you listen to the echo in You Shook Me All Night Long and stuff like that, it sounds like a fucking demo.
Right.
It sounds like that they were like, you know what? Let's just fucking
record it. Let's make it
we already
happen.
have some shit. This will make our life a little bit easier.
That's right.
I would have fucking done
getting
it.
paid.
Yeah. I mean, they have the bass player probably got paid the most royalties. You know what I mean? Because he would just boom, 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 boom. That's all you heard.
That's right.
And
but I thought there was a good use of the music for the atmosphere as well. You
it's not Southern, but it's not, I don't know. It was a weird, cool, heavy metal, fucking Ozzy Osbourne shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even the dudes in the AC/DC truck
Yeah.
Like, far out, man. Marla Maples is in this fucking
Yeah,
movie, dude.
absolutely.
What the fuck? Donald Trump's future wife was in this movie. Whoa. Amazing. There's just so many of those little things, like the guy that tumbled the truck at the very beginning whenever the drawbridge.
Yes.
I know we really didn't even talk about that, but that's good because that,
You have to enjoy. There's have to be things for you to enjoy the movie we didn't talk about.
yeah, that
For
first
sure.
part, is so fun, but it's like, why didn't you back up?
Yeah, for sure.
If it was going up, it's not going to stop.
Right?
Let's just get out and run. But that dude apparently was, I think he was the interpreter that they thought was an interpreter. But he also was like kind of like their everyman.
Oh,
Like he
gotcha.
did everything, stunts, fucking whatever they needed him to do. And I think he was in charge of hanging out with DOP.
Oh, gotcha.
Something crazy. He did a lot of fucking crazy stunts and crazy
Another
car
set
work.
of eyes.
Yeah.
Ba-dum-bum.
His family's like, no.
Damn you.
Overall, a fucking great movie. I put it in the middle of my top 100 just because every time I see it, it's just fucking good.
I don't think I've overwatched this movie very much. Like I watched it 2 or 3 times for the show, and I probably hadn't seen it in 6 or 7 years since then.
Movies,
You know?
yeah.
Like, I just don't watch a lot of movies over and over. Like I'll watch them multiple times, but I'm not going to. Every now and again, it's nice for a refresher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. After I get past that kind of like the nostalgia for me, it's like, oh, I hadn't seen that in a while.
Right.
You know, I'll watch it once and then I'll be like, oh shit.
Same.
Wait a minute, I didn't. Oh, I'm going to watch it again. So I'll watch it like 8 times, 8, 9 times. I'll watch it 2 times in a row. Sure. I'll watch it with the headphones, with the captions on. I'll watch it in a different room with different sound, and you can hear different things. I'm like, oh shit, that was fucking a great sound. You know what I mean?
Right,
Just
sure.
like we have this. What scene was it? And it sounded so fucking perfect. It sounded exactly like what it would sound. Oh, the Coke cans. Boom.
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely.
The Coke can off of the helmet of the face mask.
Yeah.
It was like, "Futung." It sounded like it would if
Yeah.
it barely grazed it. You
Yep,
know, I'm like, damn, that's
absolutely.
fucking awesome. Just, there's just, I love this movie and I always will love this movie. It will stay in my top 50 if I ever even have a top 50. You know what I mean? Or a top 100, because that is a lot of film and that is a lot of consideration for every single spot.
That's right. I think the hardest thing to do something like that would be the top spots. Like for me specifically, like there's a lot of movies. Sometimes a movie just depends on what my mood is too. You know,
Yeah.
Like Shawshank's been probably my number 1 movie for the longest time. But that's still there's a movie where you have to be in a certain mood to watch it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe not, but
That movie is like the one movie that I can watch over and over again is What's Love Got to Do with It.
yeah.
Anytime it comes on, any point, wherever it's at, I'll watch
I'm not
it.
Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey.
No. Grandpapa.
Which I thought for like a year and a half that was like your favorite movie of all time, and I'm like, what?
No. It's
It's the only
Tina Turner.
decision I ever was like, what is wrong with Barack?
It's the Tina Turner biography.
yeah, I know which one you're talking about now.
Larry Fishburne. But no, that it's not one of my, I'm not going to put it in my top 10.
Right.
But that movie is, for some reason, is there.
Sure.
I know my top 1, and it'll never change. It's going to be Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes I'm reevaluating a lot of shit too.
Sure.
Because I look at that and I'm like, what else goes there? Friday the 13th, part 6. Yes. So instead of the normal ones,
Right.
Citizen Kane, fucking
Princess
2001, yeah, Princess Bride. That's another one. That one's up there.
For sure.
Because most of these I remember seeing in the theater. This one I didn't.
Yeah.
It was a video.
It was on Cinemax or HBO, one of the whatever my dad had.
I always rented
She's
the big
usually both.
media one.
Yeah.
The big one with him with the gun. You're like, damn, that's a fucking Green Goblin truck. But that was Maximum Overdrive. Maximum Overdrive is a shit. Watch it.
Good movie, man. Have fun with it though. Like just don't be crazy about it. I've seen a lot of stuff online where they're like big haters, but I'm like, what do you expect, dude?
Yeah.
It's a movie about a short story.
Damn. Yeah. It would have been so cool if like fucking Harley Davidson and Marble Man just showed up. Like,
That's right.
they just shoot
It was
the curl.
just Mickey Rourke.
Oh, man.
Because, Don Johnson's busy bucking the Broncos and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think that about wraps it up, Brock.
Yes.
Where can they see us and talk to us and think about things and give us little interjections and,
Well, there's a thing that they invented, Daniel.
Oh, Daniel. All right.
Called the internet.
Oh. What?
Well, we're on Twitter, Facebook.
Thank you, DARPA.
Yeah. YouTube. Just look for Drop Culture.
Yeah.
Anywhere you look for Drop Culture, not drop, not DROP,
Yeah.
but DROPPED.
Yeah.
Because Drop Culture, you'll find there's a lot of people that like shoes.
Yeah.
But we're the Dropped Culture podcast.
That's right.
And you can find us anywhere that there's internet.
That's right.
Later, dudes.
Peace.
You can find us anywhere internet is found.
That is true.
On all quality internets.